When the mind as BackChat eventually causes one to go into the living expression of rage, anger, wanting to kill people, wanting to act out on your fears and your thoughts in your mind. Here we have a newspaper article of an axe-wielding father who went on a mission to seek revenge for the rape and HIV infection of his daughter. What happened after this incident is that this father went about killing random people. All of these victims of his, he attacked randomly at night while these people were walking home from work. And witnesses who survived these incidents said that apparently this man calmly drove past them in a vehicle and would then climb out of his car. And the one man explained that he walked up to him with what looked to be like a bag, which the man assumed had a gun inside. And the man then pulled out an axe and started accusing him of raping his daughter. He said this man obviously was completely puzzled, as this man was accusing him of having raped his daughter, didn't know what was going on, and then the man started lunging at him with this axe, aiming the axe at his torso. Luckily for him, he was able to duck away and run away from this man. The survivor went to the police and explained to them what happened. And less than an hour later, the axe man allegedly attacked another man who was walking home. And this man he did manage to kill because they found his headless body, and the body was found 2 kilometers away in a dustbin. Now, why do I say that this is the living expression of what happens when the secret mind and the BackChat mind eventually consumes a being? I mean, here you have a man, he had a very traumatic experience where he found out that something had happened to his daughter, that she had been raped and now she was HIV positive. And this man did not only react in anger and frustration as one could expect in such a situation, but he completely became delusional and illusional about the entire experience, and then went on a rampage in the next 24 hours, killing innocent people and blaming men that he came across on the streets at night for having raped his daughter. So the point here is, what was going on inside that man's mind from the starting point for him to have reacted like that in the first place, to have had such a traumatic event push him over the edge? So here we have an example of what we refer to as the BackChat mind, which is basically your secret mind, which is all your fears, your worries, your concerns, your points of anger and frustration, which you've never been able to express. And this you'll probably find comes from the person's childhood. The majority of the time it comes from where the person started building up secret thoughts which they could never express and speak about. And it might be events happening to the person, like traumatic experiences, abuse, things that happen to this person, witnessing abuse within the family. They themselves might have been victims of abuse. And what happens is, within the mind fills up like a cup, basically, with all the thoughts that you have in relation to experiences which you don't know how to express. And most of us have experienced this in our lives, where we will rather secretly have a thought about, I don't know how to handle this, or how dare you, or fuck you, or you fucking bastard, how dare you, but we don't know how to actually do anything about it. This happens usually in events where we feel the event is beyond our control. We have no directive, principle, or say within what is happening. And this usually happens to children within families, where the parents are forcing the child to, follow certain rules, and the child is not happy with it, but what can the child do? So the child develops a BackChat voice in the mind, which is where you get to speak to yourself and say things like, screw you, I don't want to have to do it, whatever, all those thoughts those conversations you have in your mind about the experience you're having. And that is where it becomes okay for us to have these thoughts and feelings, because it's hidden. The person in front of you does not know what you are actually thinking about them. And people over a lifetime will build up these secret BackChat thoughts and experiences and reactions, where what they are portraying to those around them is a silent, calm expression of, I'm fine with what you just did. And this is why we refer to it as the body being like the cup, where eventually, at some point within the being's life, a traumatic event will happen and the cup will flow over with such inability to handle any more trauma, any more feelings of powerlessness, of rage, of anger, that the person will snap, basically. So in the case of this man, something traumatic happened to him and the mind couldn't anymore handle something like this happening to him, and then the mind then, this is where in the interviews we refer to mind possessions, because then what happens is the mind becomes possessed by the experience which it can no longer bottle up, it can no longer handle, and the being will actually become possessed completely by this compressed experience over many, many years that the being has been suppressing within themselves. So in this case, you have here an example of a BackChat mind over many years where the being swallowed their frustrations and fears and feelings of powerlessness, and in one event this person then became possessed by the mind, as the BackChat mind, as the secret suppressed mind, and this man then went on a rampage and killed people.